Today, we're going to be taking a look at cables, but hang on, not just any kind of cable, a phantom cable. Let's check it out. What's cracking, everyone? My name is Ryan, and today we're going to be talking about the WOO Phantom DAC. Now, this is a USB-A DAC cable from WOO Audio. It retails in at $399 starting out. And before we get into this video, I do want to send a big thank you to WOO Audio who sent this out in exchange for my review. As always, guys, all thoughts and opinions here are of my own. Now, as I said, this is a USB-A DAC cable, but they do include a USB-C adapter inside the very nice black case that you will get along with the cables. Now, as I said, these do start in at $399, but they will go up to $449 if you want to increase the cable length to 2 meters, and then $499 if you want to increase the length to 3 meters. By the way, that $399 price point gets you a 1 meter cable, and that doesn't matter whether it's the dual RCA unbalanced or the dual XLR balanced. However, you can inquire with WOO Audio if you want to do custom cable lengths. Now, obviously, if you're going to do that, expect to have a price difference depending on what kind of cable length that you are looking for. Now, I quickly want to go over the technology behind the Phantom DAC. This is an ESS Saber DAC that will decode up to 24-bit and 384 kilohertz of a sample rate. It is a MOSFET output stage, and by the way, it's going to output 16 ohms of impedance. It does DSD up to 128, and this is an MQA renderer for those out there that are curious about MQA. Of course, you would have to have the right music system or music streaming service to go along with that for that to work right, because there's an LED on this that will light up depending on the file type that's being outputted. So if you're using Tidal, something like that, that's what that's going to work for. Now, this is also a quad DAC technology. The maximum voltage for the single-ended is 1.7 volts, and the balanced XLR is going to be 3.4 volts. Lastly, I do want to mention that this is their own premium Evolution audio cable. If you look at WOO's site, you're going to notice that they have a XLR premium Evolution audio cable that retails in at $349. So guess what? For $50 more, you get a DAC on that cable. More into that as we talk about the features of this. This is a premium, high-quality cable, and it feels very premium in the hand. The only kind of knock I would probably give this is it is a little bit stiff in the hand, guys. So when you're plugging this in from computer, laptop, whatever you're going to do to your amp, just know, if you're somebody that likes to hide your cables or do cable management, it's going to be a little stiff to start off with, and, will be a little bit stiff as you're trying to do that. And please get your mind out of the gutters. Now, I do want to go ahead and start with use case behind this cable, because quite honestly, that's why I reached out to WOO Audio in the first place, because when I saw this, I was like, I have not seen anything like this out there in the audio world space. As far as I know, I am going to talk about sound as well. We'll kind of finish with that. All right, so it really didn't come to me about the multiple use cases of this cable until I really started to A/B this in my system so that I could get a good sound impression of this between the XLR and the RCA. And that is just the simple nature of the cable itself, desk space, right? So you got one less thing that you got to put on your desk. You might have a preamp, you might have an amp, you might have a tube amp, you might have a streamer, you might have a stream deck, who knows what. This eliminates one of those boxes that you got to put on your desk, especially if you're somebody that just wants a plug and play. This is truly plug and play. About the only thing you're going to have to really change is if you want to change your sample rate or your bit rate, go ahead and do that. Other than that, you are set up to go. One thing I really had a lot of fun with this was I have a switch box. I used an XLR switch box. I plugged in the XLR of this DAC, and then I had my two amplifiers coming out of that, and I was able to quickly switch between the two, and I didn't have a DAC sitting there to worry about that. Or if you already have a DAC and then you get this as well, that was easy enough to switch between the two of those. So the other thing I could see with this is, let's say you're going to a can jam or an audio meetup. Well, guess what? You pack up your DAC cable, you pack up your phone, and maybe a headphone, and you go to that meetup, you plug this into the amplifier, you already got your set list on your phone via the USB-C to USB-A adapter here, and you're good to go to listen to your own set list and don't have to worry about a DAC. That's another use case I could see out of this. Now, where do I see some negatives out of this? Well, one is the stiffiness of it again, like I said. So because it is a little stiff when you're plugging this into something that's a little bit lightweight, like a, like I said, like a switch box, maybe a phone streamer or something that's not very hefty, this is going to kind of take control of that and not let it be anchored down quite so well. So that's, kind of something to take note, at least until it kind of, loosens up a little bit, I think. I think the other thing is too, the obvious one, right, of choosing XLR or RCA. You got to be careful about that. Really understand what is your general use case. Me personally, I got to say, RCA kind of makes a little more sense just because of the universal nature of RCA. Almost every amplifier has RCA inputs, speakers, RCAs, speaker amps, RCAs. But then when you get to the higher end, that's when you get into the XLRs. You got to decide what it is you're going after with a cable like this. And then the length. You got to be really cautious about the length. 1 meter, in my opinion, is too short. Now, if you have a system that is already going to be very constrained, then 1 meter is going to be fine for you. But think of future, right? So if your desk is going to change in the future, if you're going to add more things in the future, you're probably going to want a longer length cable to make sure you're good. And then the USB. USB is not for everyone, guys. USB carries noise. Now, I'm not saying they didn't build a quality cable here, because they absolutely did, but it's still going to carry some noise. And this is powered by USB. So when you plug this into a phone or a laptop, of course, you're going to get some battery drain from it. It's not terrible. That MOSFET stage really helps with that. Look up MOSFET, you'll see what I'm talking about. But it's still part of that drawback, I think. But the convenience features, in my opinion, outweigh all of that. It's still a niche product, in my opinion, but it's a damn good niche product. And I think WOO did a fantastic job with that. And I definitely want to give them their props where they are due. Sound-wise, what I would say about sound is this adds a little bit more width to my sounds, which I really appreciated that. I listened to my Audio Organic through my IHA6 with this DAC, and I definitely noticed a little bit wider of a soundstage out of that. And there's a little bit more warmth. It ever tiny little bit tamed that treble a little bit on the Aria Organic. So I don't think it adds anything to the treble. Like I said, it tames that a little bit, but it's just a nice, pleasant, warm tonality that I got. And of course, synergies, guys, are going to play a huge role in this, because it depends what amp you're going to plug this into. Maybe you've got an amp that is a wide sound stage already, and this will add to that. You see where I'm going with that. That synergy plays a big role in that, but definitely got that warmth and that wider sound stage out of the sound. And I really appreciated that and found that to be a pleasant, nice grade of audio that I was getting out of the DAC, Phantom DAC from WOO Audio, in case I didn't already say that. All right, so that's going to wrap up this video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If so, please smash that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel, because, well, I think this is around 100 videos now, guys, and I'm pretty proud of that accomplishment, and I'm just going to keep on going. So join me on that journey. I thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.